Hi, Brandon. I'm Ariana. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Irina. Nice to meet you too.
So there's so many different guests on the In the Know show. How did you go about deciding who would be the guest? How was it filmed? Let's get into that. So how did you kind of decide who would be guest on the show?
So, one, we wanted the guests on the show to reflect people who actually might be guests on an NPR show. So we didn't want it to be only the type of guests that would be on like the Tonight Show. We didn't want it to only be movie star celebrities. We wanted to talk to all sorts of different people. So we wanted to talk to athletes and intellectuals and musicians and all sorts of different people. And then the other thing was we just wanted to interview people we found interesting, people that were like, oh, they're a fascinating person. It would be nice to be able to talk to them for an hour, which is what the original interviews are. So even though in when you watch the show, they're trimmed down to about 3 minutes, they talked to the Lauren character for like an hour for every interview we did.
So were the interview answers scripted or was it a lot of improv? How did that go?
It basically was the way we would imagine a real NPR interview would go, where we do a lot of research and we prepare questions, but we don't tell them anything to say. And so the
Oh.
interview can go anywhere. The only exceptions to that are when Fabian does the pre-interview with Jorge Masvidal, the MMA fighter. That was scripted, although he improvised a lot of his lines. That is a lot of his best ones. And then in the Tegan and Sarah interview, that was unscripted, but at the very end, we asked them if they would pretend to get sick because that was
Mhm.
something we did for the story. But otherwise, everything that happened none of their answers are written.
That's that says a lot because as a viewer, it was funny to see their reactions to Lauren because they
Mhm.
all seemed to be as confused as any actual human
Yes,
being would.
right, exactly.
Yeah, and he didn't even keep a straight face because
I
he
know.
was just so out of it. Why did you decide to not have the guests be animated and everyone else be animated?
I think one practical reason is stop motion animation takes so long and it's so expensive. It would have like we wouldn't have had the budget to animate their side of it. But then the other thing is sort of like you're saying, there's so much comedy and entertainment in watching their faces react to Lauren that it's great to be able to just use that live video rather than go through the extra step of animating and trying to replicate something that happened so effortlessly.
Yes. Why did you think an NPR show would be the perfect setting for a workplace comedy?
A lot of it was just that we thought a show set at an NPR station would give us the opportunity to make fun of ourselves. So Zach and I relate a lot to these characters. We both listen to NPR, and we find ourselves ridiculous all the time, and we find our friends ridiculous all the time. And so we liked having the opportunity to satirize ourselves. And so it really is less of a satire of NPR itself than sort of people like us who listen to NPR.
Yeah. And why did you decide for the stop motion approach? It's a bit of a lost art, or you only see it like once every 10 years because of the logistics.
Yeah, so it was something that Mike Judge brought up because he had always wanted to do a show in stop motion. And then as we were talking about it, it just seemed to be more and more fitting that there is something about stop motion that's like a little twee. It's like something you see in like Wes Anderson movies. There's something that seems to fit NPR and us well. They're very fragile, delicate little creatures. Uh, so that's one reason we thought stop motion would be great for this. And then the other reason is we thought that because we knew we wanted to do the live action guests, that it would play well to go from a stop motion puppet to a guest and back as opposed to 2D animation.
Yes. If you were an animated character, and you would have to wear the same outfit every day, what would you, unless there was a Christmas special, what would you want your animated outfit to be?
Oh, it's an interesting question. At first, I thought you were going to ask, what would it be? What would I want it to be?
Yes.
Makes me think. I would say the most honest response would be they would be wearing a t-shirt and jeans. If I was going for like percentage wise, what is my most common outfit? What would I want it to be? I would want someone else to choose it for me, someone with more style than me to be like, this, you'd look good in this. Trust me.
I can see you in flannel. I can see it.
I got a lot of it. I think you're onto something.
If Lauren Caspian shows actually existed, one, would you listen to it? And two, do you think it would be the third most popular show?
I think it probably would not actually be the third most popular. That's probably generous. It would probably be a couple rings below that. And I think I would listen into it in the way that, without naming any shows, and these are not necessarily even NPR shows, there are shows that I watch or listen to because I just find the host to be so unintentionally comedic. And I might listen to this guy for the same reason.
Yes. What would you think Lauren's feelings would be about podcasts? Do you think they would be intending on NPR? What do you think his feeling would be?
I think he's so motivated by ego and by acclaim that I think he probably finds a podcast to be threatening, but if he was ever given the opportunity to have one, he would be very excited.
Yes. And we also know that his price is pretty low, so it's quite possible for him to be on one. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm so excited about the show, and I can't wait to talk to you about future seasons. I'm putting it out there.
Oh, thank you so much. It was nice to talk to you.
Awesome. You have a good one.
You too.